Today, on Leaders in Coffee presented by Bachour, we sit down with Miami-Dade County Commissioner Esteban Bovo. Commissioner, thank you so very much for joining us for Leaders in Coffee presented by Bachour. Welcome to Coral Gables.
Good morning. I'm excited to be here.
All right, let's go select our pastries.
Hey,
I've heard you have your favorite here.
I have a favorite. It's right back there. Filled with cream. Absolutely delicious.
Commissioner, thank you once again for joining us for Leaders in Coffee presented by Bachour. You served as a councilman, you served as a state representative, county commissioner. Where does your passion for service come from?
Well, I think it generates from my parents, to be perfectly honest with you. You know, my dad was a veteran of the Bay of Pigs. This fire of seeing a free Cuba was always present in my home. And, so I think it comes from my dad and my mom. My mom was always there next to my dad, supporting any effort he would do, whether it was Brothers to the Rescue, whether it was, raising money or awareness for those that were coming on rafts from Cuba. I think the seed was there. And then for me, the passion of local government was always very strong. It was the most direct form of government to people that could affect their daily lives. And so me, it was always a natural transition, although my dad probably didn't really like it. Being a military guy, he wasn't very fond of politicians, but it all worked out.
So transportation is a large issue in Miami-Dade County. Coral Gables in particular is a cut-through city. Any ideas on what we can do to improve our transportation situation in Miami-Dade County?
That's the million-dollar question, right? And I think one of the most important things that people that are watching this need to always take into account that the problems of transit in Miami-Dade County and traffic did not occur from one day to the next. This is 50, 60 years of perhaps poor planning, where you would allow developers to build a community and just connect it via road. And when we were 300,000 people in Miami-Dade County, that wasn't an issue, right? We could navigate it. But when you get to a point where we're now close to 3 million people, perhaps over that, if you consider those that work here and then leave to other parts of the county, and those that visit Miami-Dade County, now it's a problem. And Doral, Coral Gables, other communities that are cut-through cities have a big problem. They have a big problem, and there is no easy solution as far as all of a sudden you're going to stop cars from going through their neighborhoods. The one thing that I believe that the county has failed in doing, because part it's been overpromised, in other instances it's just been a moving target all the time, is delivering on mass transit. You know, in a county that's grown east and west, we built corridors going north and south. And that really has done nothing for folks out in the west end of the county, forcing them to be condemned to their car. And I think what the future transportation should hold is not only talk the talk, but walk the walk. Make the investments. People understand it's going to cost money. But if you do not make the actual investment where people can put their hands on it and touch it, then to me it's all about lip service, and that has frustrated not only residents of Miami-Dade County, voters of Miami-Dade County. With that rebellion, we see it often at the county.
We've seen a growing issue on King Tide in Miami Beach. Coral Gables has a large coastal region. What can we do to improve that issue?
You know, for a long time, sea level rise was something that many conservatives did not want to talk about, to be very blunt. And unfortunately, the issue of sea level rise and global warming was kind of encapsulated because a political figure was the one that brought it to light. And it's sad, to be honest with you, because that, in the society that we live in today, made it all about red and blue. If we don't have a healthy coastline in South Florida, we have no economy. There is no South Florida. So beach renourishment, hardening of infrastructures are extremely important, but it has to go beyond that. We need to develop differently. Coral Gables, in many instances, is an example of what I think the future of development could look like. More vertical construction, more or less car-dependent type construction, where somebody in Coral Gables could literally live, work, and play and do it without a car. Now, I know what I'm saying may have some people's head pop, right? Think in terms of South Florida, no car. But we could argue not only is it happening here already, it's happening in Brickell, it's happening in certain parts of Doral, it's happening in certain parts of Dayland. It can happen if we do the right synergy of transportation and building together. I think we could get to that level where we can be less car dependent and perhaps create a more pedestrian-friendly community.
As far as government waste, it's been talked about for many years. Miami-Dade County has a huge budget. A lot of that money is probably not going to the places it should. What would you do differently?
Well, your budget process should be your biggest policy statement process. No, I mean, where you're going to put your money and how you're going to invest your money should be everything about your budget. What I feel is that county government has fallen into what I call this, has been lured into this Washington-style conversation. County government and local government have very limited, in my opinion, very limited and precise direction of what residents want them to do. Police and fire, pick up your garbage, make sure your roads are paved. These are the core functions of county government. What we can't allow county government to become is a laboratory for social experiments that really should be taken care of in the private sector or by society, but not by government. The county government's function is, again, provide the services that you and I pay our taxes for and not go beyond that. And unfortunately, in many cases, we have seen waste in government. We have put much money into studies, into programs that, quite honestly, I think should be handled by the private sector or society and not government itself, and definitely not the local government.
You've announced that you're running for Miami-Dade County Mayor.
I am.
What is your vision for our county?
Well, first and foremost, I think it should be about transparency. It should be exactly what I talk about. County government should be about the services that it renders to its residents. Taxpayers, homeowners, and business owners have been carrying the freight for a long time, and the burden of county government getting into adventures that I don't think it should be getting into. We should limit, streamline is probably the better word, on how we do permitting, expedite the opportunity for us to be able to construct, to build workforce housing, to address the issues of sea level rise, address the issues of transportation. These will be the cornerstones of my campaign. But first and foremost, it's going to be about transparency. And I think one of the conversations that we need to have, and we will have in 2020, is that many of the folks that are running have had a lack of transparency. And more important, I think residents demand accountability for how their money is spent and where is it being spent. And I've worked since I've been on the county commission for the last 9 years exclusively on making sure that we have accountability of where we spend our money.
What message do you send those young families that are moving into our county now about the future of our county?
Well, first and foremost, welcome to Miami-Dade County, right? This is a great place to live. We live in paradise. And our parents, to a certain degree, have helped create the conditions in our community that allows folks to continue to move here. But I will say this, for a long time, chaos in other parts of the world are what fed Miami-Dade County. So if we had chaos in Cuba, Venezuela, Nicaragua, in Haiti, Miami-Dade County was the benefactor of that chaos. What we should strive now is for an actual plan, not wait for chaos in someplace else. But let's start putting a plan in place that is not going to just help us in the short term, but will be a blueprint for the next 20 to 30 years. And I think we could accomplish it as long as we're honest with residents. I think in many cases we've seen it. We offer a half penny, we tell them what it's going to do, but it really doesn't do it. County commission at times says they're going to do one thing, and yet they do another thing. We've seen too many instances of that. I think it's time now that we are straight up with residents and have faith that our residents not only can handle good news, they can handle bad news, and they can help us make tough decisions.
Commissioner, thank you so very much for joining us for Leaders in Coffee presented by Bachour. And thank you all so very much for watching. Remember, you can now get dinner here at Bachour as well. Thank you for watching, and tune in next time for another Leaders in Coffee presented by Bachour.